Welcome to the Daily Decant, your 5-minute briefing on the world of wine. Each episode delivers practical insights to help you choose, order, and talk about wine with more confidence in everyday social settings. Let's get into today's decant. Here's the honest truth about this week. None of the wines we talked about are obscure. None of them require a sommelier certification to order, and none of them will make your dinner companions feel like they accidentally wandered into a wine education seminar. And that's the whole point. Ordering beyond the obvious doesn't mean ordering something weird. It means having a slightly bigger toolkit so that when you're in a restaurant, at a business dinner, at a dinner party where you're bringing the wine, you can make a choice that genuinely fits the moment instead of just defaulting to whatever name you recognize first. So here's what we covered this week. Albariño instead of Chardonnay. The crisp, coastal Spanish white that works for everyone at the table. The Chardonnay people, the Sauvignon Blanc people, and the people who don't really have a preference. It's approachable, food-friendly, and the kind of choice that makes you look thoughtful without trying. If you're ever at a seafood-forward dinner and you want a white that does everything right, this is it. Grenache instead of Cabernet. The smooth, warm-hearted red that's perfect for every situation where Cab feels like too much. Lower tannins, red fruit, a little spice, food-friendly in a way that big Cabernets just aren't. It's one of the most widely planted grapes in the world and somehow still feels like a discovery when you put it on the table. That's a rare combination. Next is the overlooked sections of the wine list. Southern Italy, Portugal, Austria, Spain beyond Rioja. These sections exist for a reason, and that reason is almost always great wine at a fair price. Sommeliers put things there because they're genuinely excited about them, not because they need to move inventory. Start paying attention to those pages. That's where the value lives. Next, we talked ordering by region instead of grape. Something from the Rhone instead of a Cabernet. 6 words that transform a transaction into a conversation and almost always result in a better bottle. Grape names are just labels. Regions tell you about the soil, climate, tradition, style. When you order by region, you're inviting the sommelier or the server to actually help you, and that changes everything about the interaction. Next, Rhone blends for business dinners. GSM, Grenache, Shiraz, Mourvedre is the perfect professional wine. It's balanced enough to work with whatever everyone orders, interesting enough to signal that you know what you're doing, and almost always priced in a range that keeps the expense report clean. If you remember nothing else from this week, remember GSM for the next time you're hosting in a restaurant. And finally, Cru Beaujolais, where the moment calls for something special. Fleury, Margaux, Moulin Avant. When you want a bottle that feels like an occasion without feeling like a splurge, this is the move. Serve it slightly cool, 15 minutes in the fridge, watch the table react, and enjoy the moment when someone asks what it is and you get to tell them. The through line connecting all these choices, they're each a one-step move beyond the default. Not a leap, not a risk, just a slightly more considered version of the choice you were probably going to make anyway. That's where wine confidence actually comes from, not from memorizing appellations or grape clones, but for having a small collection of reliable alternatives that you trust, from knowing that when the table orders Chardonnay, you have a move. When the business dinner calls for something polished, you know what to reach for. And when the occasion calls for something special, you don't have to stare blankly at the wine list hoping something jumps out. You're not trying to become a wine person. You're trying to be a person who's good at choosing wine. And that's a smaller gap than it looks. And this week, you closed it a little. So week 7 was about building your toolkit one move at a time. Keep expanding. The list gets easier the more alternatives you have. That's today's Daily Decant. If you found this helpful, be sure to subscribe and share with your friends so you can continue building your wine knowledge in just a few minutes a day. See you tomorrow for your next decant.